Today I want to talk about 3 types of brushes to use, or alternatives to brushes, to paint fine details on miniatures. Welcome to my house of tiny tools. The first brush that I want to talk about is an 18-0 spotter. You can find this type of brush at any craft store. They mark them on the handle. It says 18-0 on it. I use an acrylic spotter. I go through these a lot, so I kind of just buy the cheaper ones because I do a lot of detailed work. The second brush, or non-brush, I want to talk about is a toothpick. I use a lot of toothpicks to paint fine details. For instance, the pupils in the eyes of small animals. If you're doing like a 1/12 scale animal and you want to paint the eyes, I usually use a toothpick for something like that. Also, if you wanted to do the face or the detail on a 1/144 scale animal. And the last brush, or non-brush, I should say, is a cat whisker. Now, I didn't pluck this off of my cats, but since I do have cats, they do lose whiskers and I find them around the house. So I needed something that was very, very fine detail, and I found that cat whiskers work very well for that. So you would just take the end that grows from the cat's face and dip that into paint, and you use that to paint fine details. You can also use the other end, which is very fine, but it's very flexible. So I would recommend maybe snipping that and cutting it a little bit farther up so it's not as fine and flexible. Otherwise, you're going to be scribbling all over. Some things that I would paint with the 18-0 spotter would be like the frame to the greenhouse. I would also paint, if you were doing 1/12 scale food, I would paint the pastels on with the spotter, or even a bigger brush for that. But real fine details in that, I would use the 18-0 spotter. One of the things that I would use the toothpick for would be if you were making the little 1/144 scale dollhouses. To paint the windows, I usually dip the toothpick into a little bit of paint, and then I gently stick it in the window and go around the rim to get the rim of the windows and doors in my 1/144 scale dollhouses. The things that I would paint with the cat whisker would be very fine details in a 1/144 scale person. So if you're painting the details on, for instance, the coat, the buttons, or if you wanted to do faces, I would probably use the 18-0 spotter for the larger areas on my 1/144 scale people, but the finer details, I would use a cat whisker. If you enjoyed this video, hit like. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And do you have any creative non-brushes that you use? Leave your answer in the comments below. The world of miniatures is minimum space and maximum fun. Until next time.